Once again, Gabe Arnold calls out Carter Starocci, and Starocci responds accordingly.
You are Locked On Nittany Lions, your daily podcast on the Penn State Nittany Lions. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's been a long time coming. We're finally going to get a resolution to Gabe Arnold and Carter Starocci. This is Locked On Nittany Lions. My name is Seyko, and if you missed it, Gabe Arnold once again couldn't help himself, called out Penn State and declared victory over the Nittany Lions, who have not lost since 2020 in dual meets, and Carter Starocci, who is going for his fifth NCAA title. This has been attention seeking. It's been attention seeking because no other wrestler has done this. I guess I got to give Gabe Arnold some credit because he's been calling out Carter Starocci since he was in high school, saying that he was overrated. And then last season when he was going through his red shirt that he was going to wrestle and he would have defeated Carter. And then calls him out again saying, "Your head is mine," without naming Starocci, alluding to him since they're both at 184 pounds. I'm kind of glad we get a resolution here because until he loses, until he's humbled, he's not going to stop because he has no reason not to. It's blindful ambition. Like I said, I got to give him credit for being bold. I guess whatever helps motivate you, whatever helps you trained, because you're going to need everything you have and then some to even get a point against Carter Starocci. Starocci has the chance to humble Arnold because this continues to happen. And in a sense, I'm not saying that he gets to dodge him, but he's never had to face the music. And Starocci responded accordingly. If you missed it, it's right here on the Locked On Nittany Lions YouTube page and wherever you get your podcasts. Starocci answers it immediately because he's asked about it. It's the first question. And he just says he dismisses him because it's behavior that is dismissive. Why is someone who has not earned anything at the collegiate level and for what it's worth, lost to his teammate Zach Ryder on the international circuit, because Gabe Arnold is undefeated. He's 11-0 coming into this dual meet, but talks a lot of smack for somebody that can't even beat the backup at 184. And that is no disrespect to Zach Ryder. I promise you that. But Zach Ryder defeated Gabe Arnold in the World Team Trials. Carter Starocci is the starter, and it's why Zach Ryder is not the option at 184. And of course, right? That's the logical lineup there for Penn State. So Starocci says that I thought the other guy was supposed to be the starter, alluding to the fact that they went into a tournament and Angelo Ferrari ended up being the champion because of an injury default. But he's like, I'm preparing for the other guy and dismissing Gabe Arnold since Arnold thought by not saying Carter's name, Carter, basically didn't name him either. So it's this back and forth that's finally going to get settled. I don't expect Arnold to score a point in this one. If he does, it's going to be 1 point on an escape. But I think Carter will use every bit of energy he has to put Arnold in his place. This will be at a minimum a major decision. Maybe it's a tech fall. Maybe even he ends it early. I would not be surprised because it is so intriguing to me that someone you don't see any other recruits doing this. Maybe someone else can point it out, but I have not seen another single recruit. And for the most part, it's good for the sport because it carries on the conversation. But now your actions have consequences because you could hide for 2-3 years, however long this has been going on for Gabe Arnold trying to call out Carter Starocci in this manner. But Starocci now gets the chance to, like I said, humble him because that is bold talk to call out what is going to be an eventual 5-time national champion, something that is unprecedented. If you were going to go for the king, you best not miss. Okay? Find me another recruit because this started in high school. You're calling out a multi-NCAA champion. Hey, when I get to Iowa, I'm going to win. Well, it's truly time to put up or shut up because Penn State wrestles Iowa, in the Bryce Jordan Center this Friday. And at 184, maybe it is going to be Angelo Ferrari because that battle was close. Angelo Ferrari was one of the better recruits one of the best recruits, I should say, in the class of 2024, and certainly made the case one way or another who was going to be the starter. So it It's just interesting to me, this blind optimism that you were almost not the starter in this lineup. This is a 5-time NCAA champion waiting to happen. 4-time NCAA champion as it stands right now. And you have been calling him out for the longest time when you were in high school and you hadn't earned anything. So here it all comes to a front on Friday in front of a large crowd as well. Carter's going to be amped up for it. And I like Carter's point that maybe Gabe's trying to sell tickets. Maybe he's trying to create a show out of it, create a spectacle. I don't think that's the case either, because I agree with Carter that there's going to be tons of people that are going to show up anyway. This isn't about selling tickets, putting butts in seats. Penn State fans do that anyway when it comes to wrestling in the Bryce Jordan Center. So the atmosphere will be incredible. It'll also be incredible when Starocci absolutely annihilates Arnold. And speaking of annihilation, I don't know that Arnold realized this, but according to the odds makers, Penn State is a 20.5-point favorite, give or take, to win this dual meet. That's the margin of victory that Penn State is projected by. So not only is it bold to call out Carter again, but also declare victory over the team that has not lost in 65 dual meets, dating all the way back to January of 2020. We'll talk about this more and some initial thoughts on the projected lineups coming up next here on Locked On Nittany Lions. This message is from our sponsor, Intuit TurboTax. Taxes was waiting and wondering and worrying if you were going to get any money back, and then waiting, wondering, and worrying some more. Now, Taxes is matching with a TurboTax expert who can do your taxes as soon as today. An expert who gives you your taxes their undivided attention as they work on your return, while you get real-time updates on their progress so you can focus on your day. An expert who will find you every deduction possible, file every form, every investment, everything with 100% accuracy. Also, you can get the most money back guaranteed. No waiting, no wondering, no worries. Now this is Taxes. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service. Real-time updates only in the iOS mobile app. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. Today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. Super Bowl 59 is here. One game, two teams, endless possibilities. And there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether it's predicting the first touchdown, calling the MVP, or even betting on the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easy to get in on the action. With live betting all game long, you can adjust your bets as the game unfolds and feel the thrill from kickoff to final whistle. The live betting feature lets you stay involved no matter what happens on the field, and the app is super easy to navigate. Plus, knowing that you can place a $5 bet and potentially win $200 in bonus bets for the Super Bowl, now that's icing on the cake. Download the app or head over to FanDuel.com to get started. Bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. It's FanDuel.com. Bet with FanDuel, an official partner of Super Bowl 59. And let me know your thoughts down in the comments section. Be a part of the conversation if you want to weigh in on this, because there's been a lot of weird, unnecessary smack talk here. Dean Peterson running straight to social media. I kid you not. He must have had his phone in his shoe or something, or in his sock, because the amount of time between him defeating Luke Lillidahl 4-1 in the final seconds. It's not like you won convincingly, major decision, right? You just happened to get him in a scramble and you win on a last second takedown. You'll meet him again in the Big Ten tournament, most likely. Who knows if you'll see him in the NCAA tournament, but when you guys meet again at Big Tens, I think Luke Lillidahl will get his revenge. But that's such strange behavior. Shouldn't you expect to win against a true freshman as a veteran wrestler? I get it. It's an upset, right? Luke Lillidahl comes in with an insane pedigree, is more or less a top 5 wrestler based on the rankings, Intermat and whoever else. And you get the victory. Shouldn't you believe that you were going to be the favorite, that you were going to win that, but you have to run to social media to post about it and brag about it? You should act like you've been there, kind of thing, right? So Gabe Arnold is one thing, calling out Carter Starocci and Penn State, but I think Dean Peterson falls in this category as well, where it's the inverse of it, where it's like, act like you've been there. You should expect to beat Luke Lillidahl. Now, I personally would have thought Lillidahl wins that round. That's fine, but I think the next time that they meet, Lillidahl will win that rematch. Besides the point, though, you're a veteran. Okay, you should, at least for you personally, expect to win that one. So I think Mitchell Messenbrink, has a very nuanced way of explaining this, and I'm going to try to sum it up in simple terms as possible. But the interviews are all over Locked On Nittany Lions. So if you haven't seen Carter, Kale, or if you want to watch Mitchell back, you can listen to their thoughts about it. All three of them were asked about the smack talk and everything. And Mitchell framed it in a way that it's like these people who don't have something, they are holding up an invisible mirror, if you will, and trying to look out and compare themselves. And bottom line, it's just about insecurity. It's an insecurity thing in comparing yourself to somebody about something that you don't have. Which I guess, if that makes sense to you, it's understandable because Dean Peterson doesn't have that pedigree. He doesn't have all those accolades on the international circuit, and Gabe Arnold will never be even able to chase after being a four-time champion, and of course not being a five-time champion, because that's unprecedented. Nobody's going to be able to do that. So it's understandable, but get their thoughts directly. I'm trying to sum it up in a very simple way here for the show. But back to Penn State versus Iowa. This is not looking good for the Hawkeyes, which is why your redshirt freshman, who's only been starting for not even half the season, should not be declaring victory over Penn State. This is projected to be in the neighborhood of a 20-point margin, and it could be worse than that. If you go, WrestleStat is a great website, a great resource to at least get projections for the lineups before they're actually released in the middle of the week if you want something in advance. And based on the way it's projected right now, Penn State should win this one overall 27-3. The only decision that Iowa's projected to win is Drake Ayala over Braden Davis at 133. It's a decision 6-5. So Iowa only wins one bout, doesn't pick up any bonus points, and the wrestler that is projected to win might not be available for this one because he's dealing with an injury. So Iowa, like Rutgers, like Nebraska, are at risk of being shut out. And I know they were able to fend off the shutout. Congratulations, Peterson. Nebraska lost 8 out of 10. Rutgers lost 9 out of 10. So Peterson posts that tweet on X, goes to social media really quickly, and then has to watch his team get absolutely decimated and lose 9 individual bouts in a row. This is shaping up to be possibly something similar. I think we're going to get some of the best competition possible, but Penn State is going to win convincingly. And if you add more fuel to the fire, Carter has seen the trash talk. The Penn State wrestlers, even though they're not necessarily active on social media, they see and hear it all. Eventually, it's going to get back to them. Why would you poke the bear any more than the bear needs to be poked? This up and down the lineup, top 10 wrestlers for Penn State. You might be without one of your better wrestlers at 133 who is projected to get you this lone win based on the metrics that WrestleStat uses. It's just not a good idea. Luke Littledahl is going to be out for revenge to take out his loss on potentially a Joey Cruz, right? Bo Bartlett should win. Kyle Parko, Shane Van Ness, that's a toss-up. So, okay, maybe you get a decision there. I like Tyler Kasak's chances against Ja'Cory Teamer. You could hypothetically frame that as a toss-up as well. Mitchell Messenbrink is most likely going to at least major decision. Mikey Caliendo. Caliendo's better. He's this number 2 wrestler at 165, but Messenbrink's gotten so much better as well. Levi Haynes, Patrick Kennedy, same thing. You can try to convince me that that's a toss-up, but I still lean Levi Haynes pretty favorably. Carter Starocci is going to absolutely annihilate Gabe Arnold there. And there's, who knows, maybe Angelo Ferrari happens to be the guy that they trot out at 184. But I won't look past 197. This is a chance for Josh Barr to show us truly has he arrived. I think he has. I think he is on the same stage as a Stephen Buchanan and an AJ Ferrari. I think that's where Josh Barr is. He's not a fringe All-America contender. He is a true national title contender. So 197 is interesting, and then Kirk Fleet should be able to handle everything at heavyweight as well. So there's a couple toss-ups that, in a perfect world, I guess Iowa wins. So at the end of the day, the best case scenario for Iowa in this dual meet is possibly winning 3 decisions because they're not going to get any bonus points. So it's just all bold talk at the end of the day. Just say you're excited to wrestle Penn State and you're eager for the challenge and you like your chances. Don't declare victory. Don't say that Carter Starocci, you're going to have Carter Starocci's head. Don't do any of that. That's just not a good idea here. But hey, we're talking about it on a podcast, right? It got us talking, and it's like I said, it's good publicity at the end of the day for the sport, and I think it helps collegiate wrestling because at times, the sport can be overlooked. So Penn State versus Iowa. Can't wait for the Nittany Lions and the Hawkeyes in the Bryce Jordan Center this upcoming Friday. We're going to talk about it more over the course of the week. That's going to do it for this edition of Locked On Nittany Lions. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section. I really appreciate each and every one of you for checking out this episode. If you're new to the show, please subscribe to the YouTube channel wherever you get your podcasts. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every single day. We have conversations around all your favorite Penn State sports teams, not just Penn State football, of course, Penn State wrestling, Penn State basketball too, all here on Locked On Nittany Lions.